There is a quiet financial crisis happening in America right now, and most people are not talking about it. Millions of homeowners are sitting inside houses they can't sell, not because they don't want to move, not because they're emotionally attached, but because selling would mean taking a financial loss they simply can't afford. And for many, that loss could wipe out years of financial progress in one decision. Now, here's the strange part. On the surface, the housing market in America still looks active. Houses are still being listed, people are still buying, prices in some areas are even holding strong. But underneath that surface, something is breaking. A growing number of homeowners are what experts quietly call locked in. They are stuck. Let's break this down in a simple way. Imagine buying a house a few years ago when interest rates were low. Everything made sense at the time. The monthly payments were manageable. The value of the home was rising. It felt like a solid decision. But then things changed. Interest rates started climbing. Inflation increased the cost of living. And suddenly, even if home prices stayed high, the math stopped working. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If you bought your home at a 3% mortgage rate, and today's rates are around 7% or higher, selling your home doesn't just mean moving. It means restarting your entire financial life at double the borrowing cost. So even if you find a buyer willing to pay a decent price, what comes next is the real problem. You still needed to buy another home. And that next home will likely cost you far more per month than your current one. So what do people do? They stay. Not because they want to, but because leaving would make their financial situation worse, not better. This is what creates the locked-in effect. Homeowners become prisoners of favorable old mortgage rates, and the longer they stay, the more complicated their lives become. Jobs change, families grow, cities become too expensive, commutes get longer, but still, they stay. Because moving feels like a financial downgrade disguised as progress. Now here's where the emotional side comes in. For many families, their home is no longer just a place to live. It has become a financial trap they are trying to manage silently. Some people try to list their homes, but quickly realize the market isn't what they expected. Others test the waters, only to pull back after seeing how little equity they would actually walk away with after fees, taxes, and new purchase costs. And then there are those who simply give up trying altogether. They adjust their lives around the house instead of adjusting the house around their lives. But this situation is not just personal. It's starting to affect the entire housing market. Because when millions of people refuse to sell, inventory drops. And when inventory drops, prices don't behave normally. Even people who want to move for better opportunities can't find options. First-time buyers struggle even more because there are fewer entry-level homes available. So you end up with a strange imbalance. People who want to sell can't, and people who want to buy can't find anything reasonable. Both sides are stuck in different ways. Now you might be wondering, how did it come to this? The answer is not one single event. It's a combination of low interest rates during the pandemic era, aggressive home buying, rapid price increases, and then a sudden shift in monetary policy that changed borrowing costs almost overnight. The system didn't crash, it just froze. And when systems freeze like this, people don't always notice immediately. It shows up slowly. In delayed moves, canceled listings, families postponing relocation plans, and homeowners saying things like, "We'll wait another year and see." But that another year keeps repeating itself. Now, here's the deeper truth behind all of this. Most people think homeownership is about freedom, and in many ways, it is. But in a high-interest, high-price environment, ownership can quietly become a form of constraint. Not because owning is bad, but because financial conditions change faster than human plans do. And when that gap becomes too wide, people get stuck in place. So what does this mean going forward? No one can predict exactly when or how the housing market will fully adjust. But one thing is already clear. The idea of just selling and moving on is no longer simple for a large portion of homeowners. It has become a calculated financial decision with real consequences. And for millions of Americans right now, the conclusion is the same. Staying where they are is still the least risky option they have, even if it doesn't feel like freedom anymore. And maybe that's the part worth thinking about. How something as ordinary as a home can slowly become something you can't easily leave, even when life demands that you do. Because sometimes, the hardest traps are not the ones that lock you in physically. They're the ones that make leaving financially impossible.